Hey, SOS, how's it going? It's yet another sponsor live stream for the SOS community. SOS is coming up soon, just about a month away. And we're very glad to have Scout here, Trish Gordon, Executive Director of Project Management for Scout. Chris and I are both wearing our Yuma Clinical Trials shirts because we are both co founders of Yuma Clinical Trials, amongst SOS co-founder as well. Um, but Yuma Clinical Trials actually is a Scout client,
Ah,
and the reason we are is because we learned about you through SOS. So we, so the sponsorship works even if it's just us founders finding you guys. But we had a need for a transportation and some logistics, some we wanted to give some of our patients a VIP experience when it came to like a particularly long trip for a MRI. We had a specialty vendor, and being in a more underserved town, Yuma, we don't have that specialty vendor that's reliable in town. So the closest one was in Phoenix. So called up Scout. You guys got me set up really quickly, seamless process. You had several different options for me to look at, and what I understand, there's a lot more than just logistics. But we're here
mhm.
to talk about what's new with you guys. What are some site centric tools you guys have going on? What are some site pain points and anything else you would
Absolutely.
like to discuss? And Monica's here as well.
Hello.
Good morning. Hi, Trisha. And
Hello.
hi, everybody.
Well, yeah, I love to talk about all things Scout and site centric. I think you hit the mark, right? We do logistics. We help get patients to clinical trials. I think that's why I love Scout so much, right? That's a need. Sites are working so hard to identify and find those patients, enroll patients, that we help reduce that burden by helping facilitate not only getting patients who might be kind of far away from the site where they need to be, but as you had kind of pointed out, helping get them to specialty visits such as medical imaging. But we also help with reimbursements, right? I talk to sites so much and I say, how can we help you? How can we solve your problem? What can we do for you? And I once, and early in my career, was a coordinator. And when patients have all these kind of reimbursements, whether it be hotel or taxis or food, various charges with it, with to help support their participation in a trial, being a coordinator, sifting through those receipts and trying to submit them can be a tedious, daunting task, and one that just takes their attention away from actually helping their patients. So we can take that on. So we help with reimbursements. And then we do simple stipend payments. I think so many sites forget or don't realize that we are available for that too. And so when sponsors contract us on a study, we're free for sites. There is no fee per payment for that site. I'm sure as you've experienced, right? When you do stipend payments, sometimes some services have a per payment fee. Well, if a sponsor has contracted us, that's not on the site. So it's in their benefit to use us for those stipend payments, reimbursement, anything. We're kind of a la carte in that way, right? So
Right. To me, that's a
yeah.
no-brainer. I don't know why
Mhm.
sites try to fight that. There is some confusion around contract and budget negotiation time. Actually, Chris negotiates our budgets and contracts, and this issue does come up a few times where a certain vendor the sponsor wants to use, but the
Mhm.
sites are so used to just handling pay study stipends, for example, that they try to fight it. Well, it's a lot easier just let the central vendor do it. It's one less task, but we're so used to our way of doing things, sometimes we forget to actually look at what's better. It happens to me
Yeah.
too. Like, and then Chris tells me, no, like these are the central vendor. Oh, okay, I understand now. So we end up doing it. But I can see how sites kind of overlook this aspect.
Well, and I think sometimes, so Chris, you've probably experienced this. I have found that some sites aren't aware that we're even offered on the study when you're in contract and budget negotiation. So you just go through your standard, templates, your format, your fee structure, not knowing that we're an option. So sometimes we'll send teams to investigator meetings, and we'll have slides inserted for SIV slides. And sometimes I've heard from coordinators, oh, I didn't know that was an option. Like, how do we use you now? How do we
Yeah.
incorporate? So, and which is easy. We can handle that, but it's just a bummer when sites don't know up front.
So I told you before we started this discussion that I wasn't
Yeah.
familiar with your company. I'm actually very familiar with your company. I apologize.
Oh no, you just
but
had to remember, jog your
yeah.
memory.
So one of the primary problems, and it's less and less so now, was sponsors either just wouldn't add a patient stipend in the budget. So usually they provide an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't inform sites we're using Scout, like we're
Yeah.
forcing you to use it, right? Or they would include the stipend in the budget, and then again they wouldn't say we're using Scout as well, so you have that option. So it was very confusing to sites. So now what I'm seeing is in the budgets they're more, and I don't know if this is direction from Scout, but where there is a vendor utilized and they don't have the patient stipend within the completed patient total, but they have it down below, right? Where the patient stipends, you can negotiate those, but these are also handled by a vendor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting better, and that's probably
That's
why you encountered this at investigator meetings, that sites just didn't even know it was an option. Doesn't seem like sponsors are forthright oftentimes with that information, though they're getting better at that.
That's good. That means our message is getting across. I think we've been better about our playbook in terms of what we find successful. So if we've explained to our clients, our sponsors, right, if you are contracting us, provide your site list so we can introduce ourselves, we can introduce our services, we can make sure that the sites are aware. And sometimes we get that a little late. So we've been trying to help say, as we're onboarding our clients, as we win those contracts, don't forget to tell your sites that we are offered on the study and we can help them. So I'm glad that it seems like that's getting through then, which is good news.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me a lot where we find out later, whether it's you guys or another vendor, like, oh, there's a central vendor. Well, it would have been nice to know that initially. So what's the best practice, I guess, to ask when you start the budget negotiation, contract negotiation? Is there like a sentence to use, or just say, hey, are you guys using any central logistics vendors or payment
Yeah,
vendors? Or
just ask them, are you using a vendor for payments and travel logistics? So is that an option on our study? Just ask. And
okay.
if not, suggest Scout. We would love that.
If
That's what I
not,
was going to
suggest
ask,
Scout.
Trish. Is there a way for sites to actually say, I would like to use it? Or I mean, even if the sponsor is not using it, can the site use it, reach out to you and hire the service, or how that does work?
We are working on that now. So currently our model is that we work with sponsors, we're contracted with sponsors and CROs, but we hear so much from sites that they just really want to use us anyway, or they really want to work with us. And so we're developing that model. So more to come. We've been piloting it and listening and getting feedback. So hopefully here soon we'll have an offering, but I would say in the meantime, just ask your sponsors.
Okay.
A good question. I'm excited for that. We'll announce that when it's ready.
One of the things that I appreciated about your service, so initially we were looking to send our patients for a 2-hour drive, basically. And I was even looking at limo companies or like just luxury transportation, and they were just not affordable whatsoever. You basically are renting it out for the whole day, so it doesn't make sense. I'm not sure a sponsor would even reimburse that. But you guys, then I found out about you guys because I remembered you guys sponsored our conference. I ought to talk to Scout. And you guys, although they're not like luxury vehicles, you have comfortable vehicles. You use like similar to like an Uber if you want to XL. There's different customization options, and then you guys also handle meals and things like that, which to me was important because if you're sending the patient 2 hours one way, 2 hours back, and maybe their appointment lasts an hour, you're talking about 5 hours. They're gonna get hungry at some point, thirsty.
Yep.
So you guys do offer like the food and all those kind of things in addition.
Exactly. And we can be flexible. So we've worked with on some studies where we can get like a prepaid card and just give it to the participant. Here, you can use this. Um, we've even had some recent studies where we have set up subscription for like food delivery service if they needed that. And we are looking at, well, we have a study that we have offered where we can give like a subscription service where we can pick various like Netflix or various options where the participant can go in and they have a credit and then they can pick which, maybe if they want Google Play or Apple, they want the Calm app or what, they have long visits. So let's help them. Let's make them comfortable. So, we are really out of the box solution oriented thinkers, right? So we really want to
Yeah.
work with what will help the participants be comfortable. And we're happy to go to the client and say, a site provided feedback that their participant would really appreciate a subscription to Netflix for these long infusion visits, whatever it may be. And we'll advocate for that. We'll help and ask for approval for that.
That's right. I remember that now. That was Netflix. They were telling me Netflix if they want Spotify for the long drive and they can have the
Yep.
driver play their podcast, or a Netflix subscription would be awesome, because if the study lasts a year or so, you basically have free Netflix for
Yeah.
a year or longer.
Yeah. So anything we can advocate for, of course, whatever the sponsor is willing to cover, we're willing to do that.
Wow, Trish, that sounds like a toolbox for obviously it's very convenient for the site, but it's also great for patient retention. So
Exactly.
what kind of, if could you please share with us what kind of services has Scout come across with that have offered to the sites, or that the sites have reached out and you guys managed to make it happen with the sponsors, so that way people have more ideas. Like, for example, I never thought about the subscription. That to me is an
Yep.
excellent idea right now. Like,
Yep.
it will be
Exactly.
amazing for patients.
Well, think
No, for
about
sites.
all of these GLP-1 studies that are happening right now. You want the participants to be successful. There are meal subscriptions such as Factor that would help. That they have GLP-1 diet, so that would help a participant be successful. So if the sponsor is willing to reimburse for that, we can help get something like that set up. Again, like the Netflix, the Spotify, different travel. There's one recent example that I absolutely love to share. So as you know, right, Scout's available 24/7. I think one of our advantages is we have staff standing by ready to pick up the phone. We have a great team. So we had a participant travel long distance, various travel headaches that we've all dealt with, right? So they got to their destination at 2 a.m. and they needed a hotel room. They called our phone line and someone answered the phone at 2:04 in the morning, got them a hotel room, got them set up and comfortable, and then they were going to be staying in that location for a long period of time. So Scout coordinated a long-term lease in a apartment for their family to stay close to the site, be comfortable, and ultimately help with their retention. And when a participant is comfortable and able to focus on what they need to focus on without all of the headaches of hotel or travel or getting back and forth to the site, then I think they'll have better results and you can retain them in the study.
And also for the site, because imagine we handle a lot of things and now we're just giving you that little
Yep.
ball that is very important,
Exactly.
is very delicate, because like I say, that is part of patient retention. I don't imagine the coordinator or the site staff answering the phone call at that time and then next day and fixing or helping the patient, and then next day having to do the visit as well. So this is actually very helpful, and to me, as for patient retention, is just
Exactly.
an amazing toolbox.
Exactly.
Box of tools.
Yep.
Sites
It's all
would like
about that participant. Go ahead, Dan.
Sites should like that because you have like essentially a designated concierge if you're a patient. So
Mhm.
what I would do is at screening, after we consent, I would give them everyone's number, right? Like whoever they need to call. But then I would put Scout right there at the top, like, hey, for your transportation or any payment issues or any scheduling issues, just this is your contact there for logistics. It kind of gives the coordinator a lot less work, which should make every coordinator out there want to push for this service at their
Yeah.
site.
Well, and when we schedule a trip, right? If we schedule travel, whether it be a car or plane, hotel, or all of the above, the coordinator gets a copy of the itinerary. So they are completely in the loop and aware that all of it has been booked. And to the point where we even have team members who call and make sure, we've had instances where we've called a participant, did you get to the airport on time? Did you get to your flight? Okay, have you made it to your hotel? We're checking in and making sure so that all along the way. So then that way that participant's comfortable and knows where they need to be and taken care of. And to your point, the coordinator can focus on all of the other things that we know that they're doing to execute that trial.
Yes, and you brought up a very good point. So it's not just car; it could be plane flights and hotels. And Monica, I don't know if you know this is relatively new news with Yuma Clinical Trials, but we have interest from a rare disease doctor in LA looking to do studies with Yuma Clinical Trials in Santa Monica, right? And if you find, we're talking about maybe 100, 200 patients in the country that have this, and so they may not all live in LA, or they might move, and so you might need a flight, hotel arrangements. And then in Yuma, we have our winter visitors. They call them snowbirds. So they're here right now. They come from Canada or whatever. Detroit, they come from like North Dakota, all the cold places. They're here right now in Yuma. Well, in the spring, they move back. But if they're in a study and you want to retain them, you just book their flights, book their hotels, and then they go back and forth. So they don't really miss a visit, even if they're winter visitors.
Exactly. We actually have a study right now that we are supporting participants getting from LA to Sydney, Australia. So,
wow.
Yeah, so long distance. We're happy to help with that. We can definitely handle that. We even can make notes of what the participant preferences are. Do they like to sit by the window? Do they like to sit towards the front of the plane? Are they all of the little things that we can remember and pay close attention to?
Wow,
Just it makes it a better experience.
I want to register in that study.
Yeah, I want to be
I
in
know.
this.
I said, which one is that?
In Australia.
Exactly. And I think too, we have studies like that who, like to your point, rare disease studies, we're finding that there are sites that are more research naive. And so they don't know what, this is just another thing for them to learn and handle. So let us take that off their plate. Let us handle the logistics. They have to have a hard enough job finding those participants.
Yeah, the rare disease is like a huge need, but also like we're unique to Yuma, maybe a few other sites, you get the winter visitors who it'll be a more regular thing. We have some patients who respond to ads. Yeah, I'm interested, but I'm a winter visitor, so I leave in April. Hey, that's no problem. We can arrange your visits now with Scout. So we may actually be reaching back out to you guys anyways. Because, we just might need airplanes instead of cars now.
Love it. We can do it. You know that.
Let's see if the sponsor says yes.
We actually had a study recently in which the patient, the study lasted like for 5 years, but the patient moved in between the study, like probably 1.5 years before she finished the study, she moved to another state. So the sponsor initially wanted us to transfer her to another site there, but she didn't want to. She wanted to continue to. Yes.
Yeah.
And the sponsor approved it, but that we had that scenario that we needed to schedule the flight, the Uber to pick her up at the airport, then drop her off at the hotel, to schedule the hotel, then the transportation to come to the office. Like, it was a lot of logistics that obviously that's a lot of time that that we have to spend at the site doing that could be utilized
Yeah,
doing
I mean,
something specific to the study.
imagine a coordinator having to book flights, book hotels, you know, like it's bad enough to book a Uber or something, but like to do the flights, the hotels, the flight back, the flight gets delayed, cancel. I mean, it's a nightmare. Like which
It's a lot.
coordinator has time to do that's a travel agent essentially, right?
Mhm.
That's Scout. Let us do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think the Scout, besides obviously helping so much with those logistics, you guys should sell yourself as part of the patient retention program
Yeah. And
because
I
it's
think
really helpful, really, really helpful.
oh, that's exactly right. I think we're definitely part of the patient journey, and I know that our team is so great. I'll continue to talk so much about our team because I love them so much. They do such a great job, but they get really invested in these participants as well. So they'll say, "Oh, Susie's supposed to be traveling today. I wonder how it went. I wonder if her visit was okay." We really connect and pay close attention and make sure. That everyone is happy. And that's something, the coordinators do that too, right? You definitely build a relationship with that participant when they're on site. And it's hard because you really want to be protective of that relationship. So sometimes, this is just a good partnership because we like them just as much, right? We'll pay just as much love and care and attention into that participant relationship.
Yeah, the incentives are aligned. Like the coordinator,
Exactly.
the site owner, site director. Last thing I want is a patient to drop out because the drive is too far. That's why I was thinking let's do limo, let's do something to keep them engaged, and that's when I came to you guys. So the incentives are aligned. Can you give us like maybe a brief overview of your guys' staff, like what some of the roles are,
Oh, yeah.
maybe some of the operational, like just so sites get an idea of who's on the other side of this.
Absolutely. I'd love to. So the sites and participants are primarily interacting with who we call our patient liaisons. They're the ones answering the phone. They're the ones there 24/7. And within that team, we have a couple of layers. We have what we call our patient navigators, and they're the ones that are really supporting those long distance travels. They're the ones, those international, across state lines, helping get those long-term leases. So they're the ones that are really on those complex one-on-one, building that strong relationship. And then we have participant coordinators, right? So we have our patient coordinators. So they're the ones that are really helping sites. So if you have a study that might be high enrolling, and you just say, listen, Scout, I want to use you, but I don't have time to create a patient profile. I don't have time to do all that. We got it. So you just give us this basic quick intake form, and then we connect with that participant. We take more of that burden off the site and make it easy to use us and get them set up. But that's all part of our patient team. And then we have our site engagement team. So the site engagement team is smaller team, but they're definitely hardworking. They're the ones that are sending those welcome emails saying, here's our services. This is how you can connect with us. This is what you do. They're doing portal demos. So if the site says, I've never used your service, can you just walk me through the quick steps on how to do that? Absolutely, we will do that. They're also the ones answering questions and really just kind of supporting the site and getting comfortable with our services and who to reach out to. And then behind the scenes, we have our project management team. They're the ones that are interfacing with the client. So when a patient liaison or a site engagement team member goes to our project manager and says, the site really wants this, or the site thinks that this would be helpful for their participants, the project manager is the one advocating for that. They're going to the client and saying, hey, the site in Yuma would really, really like Netflix to be covered for their participants. They're sitting for hours. Would you be willing to approve that, cover that? So that project management team is really your advocate as well, right? But they're directly interfacing with the client and making sure that the client is getting things approved. Sometimes, right, you'll have those instances where we're managing and we're getting receipts and processing reimbursements, or we're approving flights, and maybe it's just a little bit over the budget. So, or maybe what the parameters that a client has approved. So between the patient liaison team and our project management team, they're going to bat for you, and they're saying, hey, client, this participant just really wants this flight in the afternoon and it's just $100 more over budget. Please approve this. So that's your project management team. And then we have kind of the leadership that really supports and looks above the clouds at all of that happening and just making sure that they are supported to do their job. So that's myself and some of the other leadership team. We have a whole army behind that, right?
Put this guy in first class, please. It's only $100 more.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's worth it to
It
keep them
take a-
happy.
It takes a village for a study,
It
right?
does. It does.
Well, and I'm sure the sponsor would even say yeah to like first class if the patient's been in the study, if it's a long study, and like they've already met certain milestones. I remember back in the day they used to give like gift baskets at certain milestones. So if first class upgrades like $300, like it's nothing to the sponsor if it keeps the patient in another 6
We'll
months.
ask. We'll ask.
Yeah,
No
well,
promises,
Yeah.
but we'll ask.
what are some of the other entertainment options like you guys have like that are maybe
Oh my goodness. There's like a
unique
whole
or
library.
memorable?
So
Or...
we have like a whole library of hundreds and hundreds of options that we can kind of preload and give. It's just a digital code, right, that a participant can get to then plug in as like a prepaid, Spotify, like if you buy a gift card, you get that code that you can preload. Same with Netflix, so that it prepays that fee. So we have access to a huge library of resources. So I think some of the ones, like I mentioned, Calm app, for example, for some studies has been helpful. But also, I guess to add with that is there's times where when a participant is coming in, they have a caretaker, right? It might be an elderly patient or even a pediatric patient that has a family member coming. Sometimes the sponsors will cover not only their travel to help get them there, but like a Calm app or some sort of app for them as well, right? It's worth asking.
I was going to ask you because let's say, for example, a study that I'm going to put an example and maybe you guys already did it. We
Okay,
had a
love it.
study in the past that was for patients, for moms, postpartum depression study.
Okay.
And they needed to bring somebody to take care of the baby while they were doing the visit, but not always was the case that they had somebody to bring. So we needed to find nannies or to take care of the baby. But that's something that obviously is a huge responsibility because hiring a nanny, even if it's for a few hours, you need to know who this person is that person is going to be taking care of the baby. And not just that, but in addition to that, the moms could not breastfeed the babies, so we needed to find milk
A milk
for
bank.
yes, exactly. And that
Wow.
was such a big work for, I mean, that just that part, that those logistics that seems to be easy, we're just like,
What do you mean, like finding formula or?
no formula, like a milk bank, like regular
I got
baby
you.
milk,
I got
because
you.
they were on this, since they were on the study and they more likely were taking, I mean,
Yeah,
either
yeah, you can't
placebo or the
of
drug.
course. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So they
yeah.
needed to get
Oh, wow.
that. And that study we had, that was actually with Global done. And we went everywhere looking for these milk banks close by. We couldn't find any that we
Oh,
were
really?
able
We did that
to.
study together? Wow. I
Yes.
don't remember.
You blocked it out. It was
Well, Monica was doing all the work, so I don't remember much.
But I love those studies because
Wow.
obviously postpartum depression is much more common than we actually think. And we finally ended up finding one, but that was like later on the road. So if we had back then Scout, that would have been
we could have done the
game
research for
changer.
you.
When did
Yeah.
when did they get started?
So Scout's actually been around for 30 years. They
Yeah.
started out as meeting planners, right? And then about 10 years ago, one of their clients that they were planning like investigator meetings and the large conferences for came and said, "You are so good at these logistics. Can you do it for participants?" And the leadership thought, how hard could it be? Well, 10 years later, it's great. So
Yeah.
they definitely found a gap in the market, really, and we're busy as can be. It's great. Yeah, like
Awesome.
those types of challenges, we're very solution oriented, right? So we would
The
have
fact that
loved
you
an
were
opportunity to do that.
referred by a sponsor to
Hmm.
start this business shows you a lot about the need in the industry. So you
Exactly.
guys do other industries too. It's just you do have a dedicated research department.
Yes. Yeah. So clinical, so we have like Scout clinical piece, right? And
Mhm.
we very focused on research and participants and getting them
Ah,
to and
okay,
from
okay.
handling the logistics, but handling payments, whether it be reimbursement or just simple stipend. We're really good at simple
Interesting.
stipend. I think that gets forgotten sometimes too, because we're so focused on like we can solve the problem. But yeah, we do stipend payments, and then and then we have the event side. So we plan meetings and conferences and the investigator meetings. So
I see. So it's
Trish, I
meeting,
have
it's clinical meetings, and then clinical includes
payments.
research, patient
Yeah.
travel for even for
Yeah.
non-research, and then meetings. Okay.
Hmm.
so basically one stop shop for that regards for the sites and for
Exactly.
the for the
Wow.
planning of the events.
Exactly.
Trish, I have a quick question. So let's say, for example, the example that I just had, that let's say that a site had a study that they've been having trouble with the logistics and they want to reach out to you and put you in contact with the study team. How
Hmm.
can they do that?
We would love that. I would say just do an introduction, right? So let the study team and the sponsor know that you really need help and you would love for Scout to support and introduce us. And we've done rescue studies. We've come in and helped. I'll actually give you an example that I'm super proud of that my team totally rocked it out of the park. We had a client come to us a week before Christmas. They said, please, please, we have 8 studies that need your help. Please help us. And we're ready. We got it done, and before we were ready to transact before Christmas. It was within a week that we were ready and set up for sites to start requesting our services. So um, ask the sponsor. Say we really need this help. Can we work with Scout?
And
Wow.
how can they reach out to you? What's the contact information that they can look at to reach out to Scout?
Yeah, we
Um,
have contact information on our website. It goes to our kind of sales team, and they can triage it really quickly. We have turnaround times where we try to respond within 2 to 3 business days with our proposals, so we can get things going pretty quickly. And again, once we come to an agreement with the sponsor, it's in a matter of weeks that we're ready to help and support sites.
okay, and how about the sponsors that are listening to this?
Reach out to me. I
Same.
would love it.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'd love it. Reach out to us. We'd love to be able to easy, complex, all of the in between. We love that stuff. We're ready for it.
Okay, so we'll make sure to post in the comments the website and your LinkedIn.
Yes, please. Yeah, that'd be great.
And in the article that will follow at some point,
Perfect.
a little follow
Perfect.
up.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, thank you, Trish. Thank you, Monica.
Thank
Chris, any
you.
questions on your end? You're on the
Nope.
contract and budget side, so we need to know early on in the process, because
Yes.
once we find out after, especially the bigger the sponsor, the harder it is to switch it. I've just and then the sites can just get frustrated and give up. That's where I'm at on a
We
few
don't
of
want
these.
that to happen. We don't want that to happen. Ask early on, reach out, definitely get us on board. And if we are, let's get that started so you know how to use us for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, as I had previously said, most sponsors are making it known now in one way
Yeah.
or another. It's either
Yeah.
stated on the budget itself or in an email. They state we're using the vendor scout for
Hmm.
patient stipends. Do you approve of this, or do you prefer to pay them yourselves, the patients?
But we need to go a step further now, because let's say the sponsor doesn't have anyone and the site wants to use Scout. The best time to get them in there is before the contract's finalized, because otherwise it takes forever and you just forget. I have
You
things
have
on my
so many other
to-do list
things.
now.
Yep,
Yeah, I have like my
exactly.
to-do list actually has like 2 of these things where I have a vendor I have forgot to add, and turns out they won't reimburse unless I get it in there.
I better hurry.
Well,
Yeah.
it's on my to-do list, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Trish.
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to seeing you. Are you coming to the
I
SOS
am
with
in San
somebody?
Diego.
Oh,
Of
yay.
course.
Very
No, I'll
nice,
be
very
there.
nice.
I'm excited. Bring me down to
That's
some
so
sunshine and out of the Seattle rain. I will love it.
looking forward to seeing you.
All
I'm
right. We'll see
actually
you there.
maybe reach out to you later on today.
Oh, I would love that. Excited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you, Trish.
Nice
Everybody
meeting
go
you.
connect
Bye.
right now and meet up at SOS. Bye-bye.